Hello and welcome to our first module of our digital marketing program. The first module which we are going to study in our digital marketing program is a subject called as WordPress. So we are going to understand about the concept of what is WordPress, how to work on WordPress, how to implement the various website design strategies on WordPress. Step by step, we are going to discuss this topic. So before we get into the subject of WordPress, first we would have to understand a little bit basics about what is the domain name, what is the hosting and other aspects. So we will be discussing about that in this particular given topic. So first, if we want to run a digital marketing campaign, we want to implement a digital campaign, compulsory we need to have a website, because see, website is a way on how we are going to build our business and build our brand. Because today without a website you cannot have any recurring customer, you cannot have any big branding for your business. So we would first want to learn in the module number 1 of WordPress is to create a website. But if you want to create a website, the first important thing you need is a domain name. The first requirement is a domain name. Then the second element, the second component is called as a hosting account, and the third component is called as a CMS system, which I was talking about WordPress in the beginning. There is also a type of system called as content management system. That is one of that CMS is WordPress. So we are going to learn about WordPress. So the components are needed. So think about it in this way. If you are planning to build a house, now what do you need is first you need to have a land. You need to do a registry of that land on your name. Then you can start building the house, right? In the same way, in our digital world, if you want to start a business in digital world, you need to first have a domain name. First, you have to register a domain name. Then you have to work on the concept of hosting. Then only you can able to start a project and create a website. So let's start with the first module of what is a domain name. What are the options in a domain name? How we buy a domain name? What are the features and options we have in the domain name? So first of all, if you see, a domain name is basically it's the identity of your business in online, and every brand and business will have a unique name. Now, for your explanation, for your understanding, this is what a domain name looks like. And if you notice here, it is a very long name which starts with HTTPS and ends with some dot, some value. So now this entire name is technically called as fully qualified domain name. Suppose, for example, if I am writing my name in the passport, so my name in the passport will be my complete name. For example, Mr. Muhammad Azruddin. Like that, I will have the entire name. But if my friends are calling, they will just call me Azhar. So that is like you have a differentiation. In the same way, when you just use the word domain in normal language, you will just say google.com. That is also a domain name. But when you write it in an official way, you have to write it represent like this. So let's understand what are the different components we have in it. So the first component of a domain name is called as protocol. You see this from HTTPS up to this particular section. This entire block is called as protocol. The second element of a domain name is called as alias, and which is also optional. And the third element of a domain name is called as a name, and the fourth element is called as a extension. So if you take a domain name is divided, a fully qualified domain name is divided into 4 categories, 4 sections: protocol, alias, name and extension. So let's first talk about what is protocol. What do you mean by the protocol? So see, protocol is basically whenever we want to send and receive information between two computers, or you want to communicate anything between computers, we use something called as a protocol. So for this purpose, if you see the first concept of HTTPS protocol, what does this exactly mean? So I will show you on the screen on the board so you will understand. Let us say we have two people and they want to communicate between each other. They want to communicate with each other. Now, let us assume this person knows English and this person's know Hindi. Now, can they communicate with each other? The answer is no, they cannot communicate. So to have a communication, each of this person should have a common language. So he must know one language, and this person also should know one language. Then only the communication happens. Now think about it this way. We have a server which is in US. Let's say this is the server of Google, and this server is on the operating system of Linux, and You are browsing this from India and you are using a Android phone, and this is the operating system Android phone, and now you are trying to connect to google.com and it has to respond back. Now this is a Linux operating system, this is an Android operating system, someone else may have a Windows operating system. So a lot of different people have different operating systems. So how does this communication happen between each other? So here is how it happens. So for this communication point of view, in our digital world, in our internet world, when the internet world was created, the first protocol which was developed was called as HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. You don't need to remember the full form, but just I have explained in terms of context of the topic. So Hypertext Transfer Protocol is the rules and regulations by which systems and websites can communicate with each other. That is the idea. Now, if you ask me, then what is HTTPS? Why it was added? So let me give you again another example of what is HTTPS and what do we need? Why do we need HTTPS instead of HTTP? So let's say this is a computer and this is a client or an individual user who is right now accessing a computer, his computer, and this is, let us assume, a bank server. So this is a bank server. Now, obviously, let us assume this is HTTP protocol, which was in the olden days we used. So he entered his username and password. Now this data has to flow from this, the wireless as well as wire communication through the internet wires. Now the question is, assume that there is a router somewhere in the middle between us and the bank, and there is one hacker here who has his software enabled and he is trying to listen. He's trying to listen to this data and he's actually stealing all this data. Now, will he know your username and password? The answer is yes. He will know your username and he will know the password, and he can actually hack your account easily. So this was the older version HTTP, but by adding this into HTTPS or Hypertext Transfer Protocol secure version, what happens is before the data is sent onto the wire from this option, so there is a process called as encryption and decryption. Encryption and decryption will be there, which is when the data is sent, this particular data is completely secured with the keys, and when this security key is added and when the data goes to the other end on the server, then it is unlocked here. So it is locked here and then the data is unlocked here. When the data is sent from here, it will lock and then it will unlock. In between, anyone access the data, it will be totally unreadable data. It cannot be, it will be like a garbage. It won't be any readable information at all. So this person can never hack. So if you see, HTTPS is very important today to secure our website, to secure our data from any hackers in between who is trying to hack the data. And how do we get HTTPS in our website? So we need to, HTTPS can be enabled in website by installing SSL certificate. SSL is a technology which stands for Secure Socket Layers, and by adding the SSL to our website, we will make it HTTPS. At the end of our discussion, I will show you how do we enable HTTPS, how do we buy this SSL certificate from the real-time website itself. And the next factor, one more factor is HTTPS is also a ranking factor, which is Google nowadays is never giving rank to any website which is only HTTP. It gives rank only to those websites which is HTTPS. And we will see about how do we buy, what is the pricing of this as we progress in our topic. So this is the first topic of our fully qualified domain name protocol, and we use HTTPS protocol. I hope it is very clear. Next, the name of the domain. Now, I can take the name of the domain as per my choice, and here when I am taking the name, basically name is your identity. So this we can do in two ways, all right? So one is we can take the name as a brand. Take example of apple.com, samsung.com. Basically it's a brand name, right? Or if you take our my own website, if I want to create, I may create a website webtrainings.in, which is the name of a brand. And keyword is something where I'm not bothered about branding, I'm bothered about ranking. I want SEO ranking. Then I can take a keyword like, I may say digital marketing course hyderabad.com or online digital marketing course.com. It's a very long name, but the goal of this names is to rank for that given keyword. So if your goal is only SEO, you want to rank on the top position, you want to rank on the search results, then you can go for the name as keyword. And also choose always, whenever we are taking a name, choose a short, memorable, easy to type and think long term, which means name should be short and easy to remember. People should also be able to remember it. But very important thing is it should be long term. Don't take a domain name just for a short term goal. We don't know after 10 years what you want to do with the domain name. So you have to make sure always you think long term before you buy the domain name, and also always avoid hyphen or numbers as it's difficult to remember. So don't take a domain like digital hyphen, course hyphen, marketing like this. We should not be taking the domain. It's not going to be very effective at all. So these are some basic rules which you have to remember when we are actually buying the your domain name. Now, to how do you find the right domain name? Do you have any tools for which you can search for the name? Can you find a good names? Yes, absolutely. We have certain AI websites like domainwheel.com, then nameboy.com and panabi.com, and also the one which I use more often. There is one more very interesting tool called as Shopify Business Name Generator, which is also an AI tool. So I can just go to Shopify Business Name Generator, and here I can use this name generator, AI name generator, to simply find good names for our business. So let's say we want to use the word digital in our product. So we are a digital marketing agency, and just click let's go. And now what it's going to do, this AI tool is going to do is it's going to give us lots of ideas. So we can select the industry also, but it's fine. It's trying to give the best names. All right, now here it is. Can you now notice? Marketly, targeted digital, brandify, brand visibility, adventure, then results driven marketing, okay, clickcraft, market pulse, buzznet, buzzify, brand lift. So actually they are extremely good names. If you notice, all of these are extremely easy to remember, but at the same time they are very powerful names. But we don't know whether these names are available to book or not, because domain name and availability I will show you later. We have to use some other tools to find out whether that name is available or not. So this tool will just provide us what are the possible names, what are the possible names available for the given topic. So like this, it gives us so many different types of names, and which are very awesome names. ClickWave, NetVibe, Trendify, Web Genius. Actually, they are extremely good names we can take. So this is how we will find the right names using this tool or the tools I have mentioned over here. So this is the next important aspect. Now, third thing, and if you want to buy based on a keyword, directly you can buy like www.digitalmarketingcourse.com. That is going to be more than enough. And now a very important point. The domain name, which is the last part of the domain name, extension part, this is divided based on business, based on country, or any other generic topic. When the internet world started, you see, at that time only limited domain names were there, like .com, .org, .net, .edu, .gov and .mil. So this edu, gov, mil, these are only available for big government organizations, and for public .com, .org and .net were available. But the biggest problem is was within few days, within few months, the names got saturated. What do you mean by saturated is, there were a lot of people want the same name. For example, the word is there, friends. A lot of people wanted the word friends. A lot of people wanted the word star, but it was not available because the domain name is like this. The moment somebody buys a domain name, it's closed for every other person. It's only available for one person can own the domain name. So now this is the problem. So then what the internet community did is they have developed a lot of different business names based on business as well as country and other generic topics. So let's see some few points about domain registration. The minimum duration is 1 year for domain registration, and every extension has a different price depending on the market demand. Today AI has a huge demand, so AI domain names like .ai, .io are very expensive names. And if you want to see all the names available for extensions to buy, I have given this link. You can see this link as well in the description, and you can now see it starting from .com and so on, and these are the old names. But as you start from now, so A, Academy, Accountant, Active, Actor, Ads, Adult, Aero, Africa, Agency, Air Force, Amazon. This is special for only Amazon. Only Amazon can take this domain name. It's reserved only for them. MX, Analytics, Apartments, App, Apple, and so on and so on. So this is where I told you the generic names. So if you see here, generic names are all these are generic names, all right? Like Academy, generic, Accountant, accountants, okay, club, all these names are what? Generic names. Like this, we have around 6,500 extensions available. So today we will not have any scarcity of the domain names. Whatever name you want in the 6,500, definitely somewhere you will find that particular domain name easily. So this is the basic info you have to know about the domain name. And as I said, these are all the popular extensions and generic extension. And one more point, a lot of times students ask that, do you have to have a specific type of extension to rank in Google search engine? So the answer is no. Google search engine doesn't rank only because you have a specific extension, but it is general point of view. If the extension is specific country, example .ca, then it may rank very heavy, very better on in Canada. So sometimes if you don't find a .com, the recommendation is take a country level domain name so that in that specific country you can able to rank very well. That is the only idea, but you don't have to really worry. You can take any extension. So it's all depends on your industry, your business, your location. We can choose any domain name of our choice. So let's see exactly where we have to buy the domain name. Now, if you go to the direct company who manages all this internet world, which is called as ICANN, the company name who manages all of these businesses, it's a non-profit organization which controls the entire internet, but you cannot buy from them directly. They won't sell any domain names. So instead, they have registered all over the world. Under them, under their brand, they have someone called as registrar companies, all right? So they have given the authority to a lot of registrar companies in every single country in the world. Everywhere in the world you have registrar companies. Some are global, some are localized. For example, if you want a domain name from Saudi Arabia, there are localized companies who only provide local domains like .sa. Only in Saudi Arabia they will give you. Out of the country they won't give you that domain name. So you have local registrars, global registrars. So some of the best registrars where we can buy is Namecheap, Big Rock, Hostinger, and many more. There are many companies are there. From these companies we can able to buy a domain name. And apart from it, there are lakhs of different companies, small, big and medium scale companies who are registered with this ICANN agency. Even if you want to start your domain registration business, even I can start do this, but first I have to go to ICANN, I have to register my company name, I have to pay them a registration fee. It's a huge amount of money I have to pay. Then they give me the license to register the domains for different people on behalf of the main ICANN company. So that way we can able to do it. Now I'm going to show you practically how we can able to register the domain name, what is the process of registration, and later on I will explain you about what is premium domains, what is global database of domains, etc. We'll discuss in a while now. So let me go to a very good website where we can able to search for domain name and register a domain name of our choice. Personally, I take for domain and hosting, I recommend Hostinger, which is a company which I use mostly for our even web trainings. Also, we are hosting on hostinger.in itself. So hostinger.com also you can take for global. So this is a website from where we can able to buy any domain or any hosting. So you can click on here the option of domain. So click on it. And the first thing you have to do is you have to find out whether that name is available or not. So here I have to type the name. So let's say I am taking a simple name, all right? So let's say I want to register a domain name, MD Azharuddin, my full name I want to take. So MD Azharuddin, I guess it will be already taken by somebody, or I can take any of these names here I want, but I will take .com. Is it available or not? So just search for it. And if it is already registered by somebody, it will be already shown as it's already registered. So if you see a green mark, then it is you can able to register because already that name is taken by somebody. Now see mdazharuddin.pro, then you have mdazharuddin.in, mdazharuddin.tech. So you notice all of these names are available If you want, you can buy on this particular name, or I can just say digitalasruddin.com. So I can just search now, and now you can find that yes, I can register this domain name. For the first year, they will charge me 499 itself, and after that we are okay. We have to buy at a time for 2 years. Fine, that we can able to buy this particular name, digitalasruddin.com. So it's very simple. If you want to buy a domain name, straight away you can go to Hostinger and we can buy. And also later I'm going to show you, you should not buy a domain name separately. Why? Because in Hostinger and many hosting companies, when you buy a package of hosting we'll discuss later in this topic. So when you buy hosting for a specific duration, what happens is automatically along with hosting, many companies will give you domain name, first year domain name for free, as well as they will provide you the SSL certification also for free. For that reason, I will recommend you to not buy a domain name right now. Wait till we have completed our hosting, and then you can able to buy a hosting as well. So you can able to directly register the hosting. Along with that, we get the domain name as well for free. So let me just go back here, and this is how we register. Now later I will show you how do we get the SSL. So now let me show you that SSL concept also. So if you just go to here, website builder, or yeah, here, okay, this company is not selling SSL separately. So you in this we have an inbuilt. So when you buy hosting, they give you SSL, but in some other companies like BigRock, if you see bigrock.in or bigrock.com, and I will share the links as well. So you can buy from them directly from my link. So here we have DigiCerts and SSL. So these are the certificates, and their starting plan is 119 per month, which we have to buy for 12 months. So it will cost you around 14 to 1500 very easily. So this is kind of expensive. So that's why I don't recommend this company BigRock. I will recommend Hostinger because you get all of the package for a very, very low price and low cost. So this is all about the host of the domain name. Now let me cover a few more important points here before we go into the next topic. So let's understand about what is this global database. Now, who is maintaining? If I register a domain name from BigRock, or if somebody is buying from GoDaddy, or somebody bought from Hostinger, where is all the data stored? Who will make sure that all this collection of data is monitored? So this organization, I can have developed a system called as Whois server, where anyone in the world register or lose a domain name. Anyone in the world register or lose a domain name, this company will be registering the details of your name, as well as if your domain name is expired, it will delete the details as well. So let me show you one of the tool here, Whois tools. So just I will open this one tool which is easy and works very well. All right, so I want to know whether webtrainings.in is registered or not registered, or it's a new domain. So let's see and verify I'm not a robot, and click go. And right away it will tell you when the name was registered, for how long it has been registered. So now if you see here, I have registered this domain in 2008, and it is going to expire in 2028, almost like just last year only we renewed this domain and updated FCC 2024. So this is our details, and also it will have the name of the company who registered it. So if you see, this is our parent company IT Info Group, but all other details, if you notice here, for privacy purpose we have hidden that. So basically it is called as a privacy package, where you can able to hide the information of the original owners as well, to save your information from scammers and other people. So this is a basic idea which you can use to find out, to check the details of the company. So any name available or not available will be shown directly. So when I type domain name, basically it searches the global database, and then it will show whether the name is available or not available for buying for yourself. So this is how we can take a domain name. And now a very important topic is premium domains. So what is a premium domain? Imagine somebody else already bought the domain name and you need that exact name. All right. So if you notice, our domain name is webtrainings.in, right? Not .com. Why I have taken .in, I will tell you. So somebody owns, not me, somebody owns webtrainings.com, and it is now they are actually selling the domain name. But look at the price, what they are selling for. you will be surprised. So now they are saying, okay, we are selling, there's somebody who owns this company is huge domains. They are selling it for $9,195, and I don't want to invest that much of money in that .com, so I will not buy. But not me, because I'm not a startup, I don't have funding. So but imagine if I got funding, and if have a lot of investments, I have a lot of money with me where I can invest. So maybe I want to go global instead of just India, then I will buy a .com domain. For example, if you know, the first domain name of Facebook was thefacebook.com. Then they bought facebook.com from somebody for undisclosed amount, and then they bought fb.com. So if you want to know the most expensive domains, so I have a Wikipedia article, I can just show you here. You can just type this keyword, expensive domains, Wikipedia. I have not added this info in the PPT. Just you can directly go and check on Wikipedia. So now you can see voice.com was bought for $30 million, 360.com for $17 million, and so on. And if you notice, fb.com, the name FB bought into 2010 for $8.5 million, because a lot of people were using the word FB. So for that reason they bought it. And I'm sure, I don't know whether who owns IG.com right now. So who is owning IG? IG is kind of some trading companies, or the owner of IG.com. But I'm sure if Facebook wants, they may actually acquire the name IG for Instagram. But right now Instagram.com is available, so they are not maybe not buying for that. But there is a high possibility in future they can buy. And if you see the word Tesla, it is bought for in 2014 for $11 million. So like this, even recently, ChatGTP, we have a domain chat.com. It is owned by the founder of HubSpot, and recently he sold the domain. Let me see if it is available. Yeah. So notice here, it was sold for $15.5 million, 2023. It was sold by HubSpot founder to OpenAI company in return for some shares in the company. So 15.5 million was the selling price of chat.com. So like this, big domain names, and these are big deals. Now if you want to buy and sell domain name, so we also have websites for that. For common man like you and me, we can buy from flipper.com. Flipper.com is a website, it's a global website where they take care of the entire escrow service and all. So here, if I want some domain name, so I can go and I can say browse. You can actually buy anything you want here. So I'm looking for a domain name itself. Yeah, here it is, domain. I'm looking for a .com. So let's see, I want a name which has a word digital in it. All right. So, okay. So gummy.com, somebody is selling for $5 lakh. Someone is selling for $849.99. Chess.com, and then the poster. And see, if the domain is general, the cost will be very low. If the domain is very specific, the cost will be very high. See that product.com, it is almost $2 million. Somebody is asking for this name. So like this, depending on different types of names, different types of extensions they have, there will be a various pricing which you can buy from this kind of website. And even direct deal, you can also contact the domain owner and you can able to buy from them as well. So this is all about a domain name. So once we have a domain name, you get the ownership of the name. Then somebody opens, like see, I have a domain name with me, which is like wtacademy.in. I have registered this name also. So if you see this name, wtacademy.in, and also have one more domain name called as w3academy.com, which is also the name I have registered long back, almost like 14-15 years back. So now if you notice, it's saying website cannot be reached. And if you see this one, search a domain name in minutes, it's nothing. It's not showing anything at all. And see here, same, this is cannot be reached. Now question is why? Imagine you have bought a SIM card, a phone SIM card, and you keep the SIM card with you, not in a phone, in your hand. Basically, anyone call on that number, it will just say cannot be reached, right? In the same way, name is just a name. You got the name, but the website won't be active. Now, as I told you in the beginning of the session, so we have 3 components. So we have now learned about the first component of a domain name. But the second component we have to learn is what is web hosting. Now, it's a very simple concept. If you understand in the same context, it's very easy to follow up. So let us understand now about web hosting. What is it and how exactly it works? What is the process of web hosting? Let us understand what is web hosting. Now see, the basic definition of web hosting is a space for website on web server where entire website data is stored and accessed by users. Now think about simple example. Think about your phone. Now the phone is basically a device which will activate the SIM card. Am I right? In the same way, a server is nothing but it is a place where you store your content. It is a place where you save your images, save your videos, save your content and all the details. So here, when we are buying web hosting, we have to remember few things. When we are buying a phone, we will think about few things, right? Like what is the operating system we want? What is the processor we want? What is the space we want? In the same way, when we are buying web hosting, we have to first look at what is the operating system we want to buy. So it can be Windows, it can be Linux, only two things will be there. And then what is the space we need? Do we need 1 GB? Do we need 10 GB? Okay, here we don't need 128 GB minimum like phones. No, here we can even survive with 1 GB also. But most of the companies start with 10 GB of package. Then processing power. How much processing power do we need? Based on that, the price will also change. Then the RAM. How much RAM we need in our server? Like our phones have 4 GB, 8 GB RAM. Same way, we will see the RAM. And then bandwidth. Now, bandwidth is a kind of different idea. Bandwidth means how many people can access your website. Now, in Hostinger, they have a direct limit. In the first package, they allow 10,000 visitors in a month. Okay, that is a basic package of hosting, 10,000. And if you want per month 1 lakh, even if you want 1 crore, you can have that also. So bandwidth is how many people can access your website, and after that amount, that bandwidth is used, automatically the website will be kind of under maintenance itself. So we will have most of the companies are giving unlimited bandwidth. So this is an example of what is the relationship between a domain. So same way, if you notice, we have a SIM card. This is our office number and this is the phone we have bought. When we connect them together, then our phone is active. In the same way, we have to buy the domain and connect it with hosting. Then we get an active website. So our website will be live. Now let us understand what are the different types of hostings we have and based on what goal we buy the hosting. If you want to buy a phone, now there is a possibility we have different types of phones in the market. One is a very basic phone where you can send SMS and you can just call. There is no internet in that. We have called as feature phone or a basic phone. Then you have phones going up to gaming levels. So example, take you have a normal phone and then you have a phone worth of 10,000 rupees. Then you have a phone of 30,000-40,000. Then you have, let us take 1.5 lakhs or 1 lakh phone like an iPhone Pro Max. So you notice each phone has a different level, different features, different options. Based on that, the price will change. In the same way, when we talk about web hosting, in general, web hosting is classified into 4 categories. So first is called as shared hosting. Second is called as virtual private server or VPS hosting. Third is called as dedicated hosting. And fourth is called as cloud hosting. Depending on the situation, depending on the project, depending on how many visitors are we expecting on our website, based on that, we choose a different types of hosting. Now in detail, I'm going to explain you first about what is shared hosting and how does it work. So now think about a shared hosting. The basic idea of shared hosting is on a single server. So let us take a server. Let us take a single server here. So we have a single server. So now what shared hosting is about is on a single server, the hosting company will divide this server into many different accounts, all right? And each of this server, each of this account, which I'm actually now putting all these boxes. So each of this box will be actually an account, and your website is basically hosted on this one account. Someone else's website will be hosted on this account. Someone else's website will be hosted on this account. So like this, what happens is the entire website will be hosted. Individual websites will be hosted, but only problem is all these websites, there may be 2,000 plus websites hosted on this one server, but they will use only the processing power of that single server. So what is the idea of shared hosting? What is the benefit of shared hosting is in a big server, because you don't need huge resources, your website is small, so you can have a single shared hosting account. And when it is good for small website with 100 or even 1,000 visitors per day, you can able to use shared hosting, and price also is very low. Price starts around rupees 2,000 per year. And a very good example of shared hosting is hostel. Think about a hostel. You take a hostel, you see in a college or in a different place like a dorm rooms, basically it's called as. So you see individual beds are given to each person, and he don't have a separate room or something, but it is the most cheap and it is the best for students to stay because it's very low cost. In the same way, shared hosting is where a big space is taken by a company, divided into small accounts, and accounts will be sold in to individual website owners. So this is called as shared hosting. Now, virtual private server. So what is a virtual private server? In a VPS hosting environment, a physical server is divided into multiple virtual servers. I told you in this example it was divided into accounts, but not accounts. Here it is divided virtually using some virtualization software into virtual servers using virtualization technology. And here this type of hosting supports 1000 to 10,000 or even 1 lakh visitors per day. You can even get 1 lakh visitors VPS server. So that is available, but the cost is very high. So if you notice here, the price is almost 1500 per month. Even for our web trainings also, we are paying something like that. So you see the price of the cost of the package will be on the higher side, but it will be more powerful. You will have more security. You will have more space. You may have hundreds of GBs of space. You will have RAM. You will have specific processing unit, processing power will be given to you. So there are a lot of positive advantages. And if you notice here, the server is broken down, but into small pieces, and each one will have their own option. So good example of VPS is, think about an apartment building or a apartment house where each of this flat is owned by somebody else, but individually they have their ownership. They will have the individual flat is owned by one person. Everything is under his control and is purely secure for him and his family. And the other one is owned by somebody else. So like this is a great example of a VPS server. If you live in an apartment, that's an example of a VPS hosting where the land is shared between multiple owners, but it is built in different floors so that everybody can stay in their own apartment. In the same way, VPS is also created and divided virtually to give to individual people. Now, the third option is called as dedicated hosting. And as notice here, there is no boxes or anything. So this entire server is given only to one company. Now, this is dedicated server hosting is a type of web hosting service in which an entire physical server is allocated to a single client or a single company, preferably for very large websites. So take example of a bank. Now, bank will have their own dedicated servers, not even a single server. They will have mainframe servers. So dedicated means only for one company, the entire server is given. And here it can have lakhs to crores, millions of visitors will be there, and it will start from a very expensive price of 6,000 per month, depending on what is the configuration of the hosting. And very good example is, let's say you have a family and you can't stay in a hostel, you cannot stay in an apartment, you want an independent house, so kind of a villa or an independent house. You have to buy this entire house for your family alone, or you have to rent it for your family alone. Nobody else is going to come there. So that kind of arrangement is called as dedicated hosting. And nowadays, we have most popular one, which is called as cloud hosting, where it relies on distributed network of virtual servers, often spread across multiple data centers and locations. This is the latest technology, and this is what most companies are using. And what is cloud hosting? Think about a server where it's physically located. Assume that if the server is shut down, what happens to your website? So you say the website is shut down. But in cloud hosting, your website will still run. Why? Because in cloud hosting, we are not dependent on one or two systems. It's a distributed system, like some hundreds and thousands of systems are there, and you are using the combined power of those, and your content is stored in some of those places, and also we have multiple backups. So even if one system is not running, one server is down, the other servers will take the load of the server. So that way, cloud hosting is the most effective hosting in the present market. But only problem is completely flexible hosting packages and processing power. And in fact, if you take companies like AWS and if you take Google Cloud and all, they are only for big brands. Big companies will use them. So if for this kind of companies, you have full flexibility. Like if you are getting suddenly more users, then automatically computing power will increase. If you are getting less visitors, then automatically computing power will decrease. But for a basic small company, for cloud hosting will start from just 1,000 rupees. But keep in mind, big brands like Netflix uses AWS. According to one report I read, AWS, the Netflix pays AWS $175 million approximately for their hosting needs. So that is why, because the whole business of Netflix depend on content, and it's a huge amount of content which is shared across all over the world. So it's a huge amount of expense for any OTT platform is there. web hosting, and they generally use the cloud hosting. So any big system or any big app or any big company you think about, they are using this cloud hosting services as well. So this is kind of representation of a cloud hosting. And an easy example is, let's assume this, you are having a function in your home or a marriage at your home, and five of your family members or your relatives are coming from other states, other cities. You don't have that much space in your house. So what you may do is, for each family which you are coming to for your marriage, you can book one room. Let's say 5 rooms you have booked in advance, within before 1 month you book, and they will say yes, we will arrange the rooms. Let's assume suddenly somebody called and say we are not coming before 4 5 days. You can actually cancel the 2 rooms, right? Suppose 3 people are coming, 2 are not coming, you can cancel. Or initially you had 5, but let's say 10 people are coming, you can again book 5 more rooms here or in some other hotel. So like hotel is flexible, you can stay there for 1 day and you can exit, right? In the same way, cloud hosting is fully flexible. You can use the power for 1 hour, 1 day, or you can decrease the power for whatever you want. So based on how much usage you are doing, based on that you are going to use the cloud hosting and pay for only what you are using. So if you see the some of the providers which provide the hosting services is Namecheap, BigRock, Hostinger, GoDaddy, and many more companies are there. So let me show you practically how to register a domain name and hosting. So I will prefer using Hostinger as a provider, which is the best company for buying hosting. So I'll go to hostinger.in or .com. I will share the link with you. And here just click on this first package which has the 40%, 80% off. So click on start now and see these are the packages: cloud startup, then business, then premium. All right, so let's go ahead with okay, this is actually two big websites, so we don't want this one. It's actually more for business oriented. We want a beginner website. Yeah, see, here it is. So we want a single website. Yeah, we want just a single website. So we want web hosting, not VPS. Okay, so this is the basic package. Now notice here, I just want to host a single website, a great solution for beginners, 69 per month, and yearly it is built, and you get one website. You get the WordPress. Then how many visitors we can have? 10,000 visitors. You get 50 GB of space, and up to this is basically 2 lakh files you can save. Then free pre-built templates, free automatic updates, and notice here free SSL, one email ID you will get, and weekly backups, and also total bandwidth. If you remember, I told you about bandwidth, which is 100 GB. And good thing is here we don't get the free domain. So if you want a free domain, you have to go to the package 2, which is a premium package. And notice here, in the premium package, the cost is a bit high, but you can host up to 100 websites in a single hosting. In that single account, you can again install up to 100 websites. They're giving you that option, and you can again install WordPress. You can have 25,000 visitors monthly and 100 GB of space, 4 lakh files, and pre-builds and SSL and everything. So I will recommend you to go with this one. This is the best package in terms of domain, hosting, SSL, as well as multiple domains. So tomorrow you want to launch one more website, you can launch on the same server itself. So click on choose now. And it's a simple process of like buying how we buy products online. The same way we will buy here. There is nothing complicated about it. All right, so now you go to a cart. All right, now here it will, okay, we don't want for 48 months, never buy for 48 months, only for 1 year you have to buy the hosting. Always it's a 1 year idea. So next 1 year is enough. There is some kind of issue it's facing. Okay, we'll verify that we are a human, not a bot. Yeah, it's verified automatically. Great. Now we just want 12 months. Perfect. Scroll down and now see the package. So we have a package of 2628, and here we have a discounts and all. So go ahead and click continue. In this we get domain for free, and you have to now register with Google, or you have to register. I will log in with our Google account, one of my other dummy Google account, and I have some all right, I think this one is one of our recent Google account. I will take continue. So you have to register with your own email ID. And here I'll give all my details, and I can click continue, and then I have to just make a payment, and then it will ask me to choose what domain name you want, and you can choose the domain name, and then you can become an owner of a domain and hosting. And remember, once you buy a domain and hosting from the same company, they are automatically interlinked. But if you buy a domain from one company and hosting from some other company, then you have to speak with the hosting company. They will provide you something called as name server 1, name server 2, which you have to enter into your domain name. In the domain, we have some domain control panel where you have to enter NS1 and NS2, whatever is provided by the hosting, and that connection will be automatically happening. And if you have any question, you can ask me in the support group. You can ask me a question. I will help you out in this process. But when you buy domain and hosting from same company, they will automatically interlink. If you buy from two separate companies, you can also speak to the support of that respective company. They will provide you the simple solution of how to connect the domain and hosting. And keep in mind, domain and hosting we can separate also. If you don't like the hosting of this company, you can quit the hosting. You can buy hosting from some other company, no problem will happen. So it's not like you are going to have always domain and hosting connected. No, you can buy from any company. If you don't like a company A, you can shift to company B also for your hosting packages. So this is how we work on the domain and hosting. So once you purchase your domain and hosting, you become a proud owner of a website, and then we have to work on the website. We have to now work on installation. Step by step, we have to work on the project. That will be covered in our next topic of discussion itself. Thank you very much.